How do this affect you as an individual?
Come again? How do they,
How do this affect you as an individual?
as an individual, I may refer to my work or my current affiliation.
Mm.
As of now, I am a registration officer at CNA, and due to that, we are going to launch and implement a project approved by the president starting January, and we will be dealing with people in the remote areas of the city or a particular barangay or a particular municipality. But before that, before doing all the bigger scale implementation of the project, we did some coordination to the barangay heads and the municipal heads of every barangay, municipal, and city of the province. And I was quite shocked to know that we've given materials in vernacular, in fact, in vernacular, and it's not really the very deep kind of vernacular, but the everyday conversant vernacular, and they're still finding it hard to understand, even if it's already in vernacular. So as an individual, it would really hamper my job, even if the material is already in the vernacular medium. It would really hamper one's job if I cannot communicate the purpose of the implementation of the project, if I cannot communicate the benefits, and they will not also understand me, how will we really submit to the project? So it hampers work, it hampers well-being, especially since my work currently involves the national ID or the identification system that will be starting to be implemented next year. So how can the people willingly, voluntarily submit to that project if they do not understand what it is about? So not just as an individual, but actually at work, that's a big thing. And I don't think that's
Okay, ma'am. So, fourth question, Ma'am Alve. How do these complications affect you as an individual?
How these complications affect others, no? Oh,
Others
okay.
rather. Sorry,
Sorry.
sorry.
Others. Okay. So these complications really affect the students and other fellow students. So they have an environment. So if they lack the comprehension or the understanding to read and to really understand, it will really affect their academic success, academic achievement, also their overall academic experience, since it will really not go away that teachers cannot help but give something that they have to read, and if they are not um, proficient, or they're not really knowledgeable about it, they would have difficulty coping in classes, lessons.
So, for you, Ma'am Lex, how do these complications affect others? How do these affect?
I think
Hmm.
particularly there will be misunderstanding. Okay, how do this affect others? This is what. Particularly, in my line of work, I will refer to my current line of work right now. I think it will affect greatly in a manner where it will create misunderstanding and miscommunication, and therefore, if there is misunderstanding and miscommunication, then the implementation of the project or what we are trying to do here for the benefit and the good for the benefit and the services that will be brought to the people will not be fully implemented. So it will not be a good thing for others if they cannot comprehend why we need to do this. If we're going to give them letters and if we're going to give them communications of why they have to make an appearance during this given time, and if we're going to give them ways on how and on what to do to achieve the step one of the process, and then they have to read it. Nobody will be explaining it to them initially because they have to fully read the pamphlet given and the brochure. If they cannot fully comprehend that, then I don't think they will feel the need to cooperate. So therefore, I think it will affect greatly in the coordination and cooperation for the project. So that's just it's not a good thing to have currently. We really need the willingness and cooperation. I think that's it.
Okay, ma'am. So, ma'am, last question. Joke, sorry. Last question, ma'am. So, how do you cope up with this situation?
So, as a teacher, I give them materials that would encourage them to read and delve into the materials that they are asked to understand and comprehend. So, these kinds of materials are current, meaning they're new, they're up to date, and they're written in a manner that they can easily understand and absorb. Because I think that they find it hard, they find it difficult to concentrate and understand materials that are so tedious, so academic. They find it challenging, and so it's not to make them lazy that I'm giving them something that is easier to understand, but for them to really appreciate it and for them to really learn from the materials that I give them in class. Thank you.
So, thank you, ma'am. So, Ma'am Alex, just in time. So, for the last question, ma'am.
Sorry.
Yes, ma'am. For the last question, how do you cope up
Yes.
with this situation?
Normally, when I encounter situations wherein there are really um, uh, an exchange of misunderstanding and miscommunication, especially in my line of work now, I would really take time to fully explain to the constituents or the stakeholders on what the purpose of my coming there, of my giving them the materials to read. So number one is I would usually prepare parang talking points like initial and expected questions for them to ask me if ever they would be asking something, so that I was supposed to give them an answer that is very much um, in their level of comprehension, or in their area of understanding, or in their preferred way of explanation. So whenever there are miscommunications or they find it really difficult to understand, before I go through and meet these individuals, I usually prepare some talking points like expect facts, like frequently asked questions, and the meaning of this word, like search it in the vocabulary, have it translated like a number of times from different people if it's the right one word to use, for me to be able to fully communicate it to them, so that lack of comprehension and miscommunication minimized, if not eradicated, it's minimized.
So, thank you for the answers, ma'am, and thank you for your time. And I joke. Sorry.
Hello.
Hello.
Sorry, ma'am.
What?
So, thank you for your time, ma'am. Thank you for the answers. And,
Nadugdan ko.
dunggan ka, ma'am. Yes. So, thank you kayo, ma'am. Thank you for your time.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Bye!